Now, in the past year, there have been alarming reports of a rise in the number of children and teenagers self-harming. Recent statistics have shown that the number of teens admitted to hospital because they'd self-harmed had risen by 10%.
So what do you do if you think your child is having problems? Here to share his expertise is paediatrician Dr. Ranj, and lovely to see you.
This causes such anguish and desperation in families. I got a direct message last night on Twitter from a lady who says, thank you, I've just seen the fact that Dr. Ranj will be covering self-harm tomorrow. You have no idea how much I need this.
That's it.
That's
I mean, there's so many people that are suffering with self-harm, and the feeling is that it's something we should be secretive about and something that we should be scared of, and so many people are terrified. It's a terrifying subject.
So do you think it's on the rise, or do you just think we're more aware of it?
Well, a bit of both, OK? So we are picking it up more and more because of things like this. We're encouraging dialogue, which is so important to get people to talk about when they're suffering from something like this, and we need to encourage that anyway. So we're going to pick up more and more because of that. Lots of helplines have seen a rise in the numbers of young people calling in because I think it's a recognition thing. But secondly, I think it is getting more and more common. About 1 in 10 16 to 25-year-olds will self-harm at some point in their life. That's 10%. That's a lot of people.
So what's causing it?
It's complex. When you talk to young people and find out why this happens, they describe it as their feelings. They get these really intense inner emotional feelings that they can't cope with in any other way. This is their coping mechanism. And it's almost as if manifesting those extremely distressing inner feelings as a physical pain gives them a chance to cope with it a bit better.
It brings the internal pain out. Can
bring the pain out, or physical pain is more easy to cope with it, and also it gives them a sense of control. So not just that, when you speak about it biologically, some people think that the release of endorphins that you might get from the pain may also give you a sense of temporary relief, but it is only a temporary thing. Self-harming doesn't deal with the underlying problem. It's a symptom of an underlying issue. It's not a primary disorder.
The issue is also the fact that it's inherently very secretive.
That's
and so if you're a mum or a dad and you have a feeling that something like this is going on, you won't be told about it. You would just be suspicious, and then in that case your son or your daughter will certainly not want to talk about it.
That's it. That's one of the myths about self-harm. People describe it as an attention-seeking behaviour. Oh, they're just doing it to get attention. Well, actually, the vast majority of young people and adults who self-harm do it secretively. They do it because they can't cope in any other way, and they do it away from everybody else and behind closed doors, and they find it extremely difficult to talk about. There are lots of myths and misconceptions about self-harm. People don't think it's very common. Well, actually, I've just told you it is really common. It doesn't just affect teenagers, it affects children. As young as 8 years old, we've seen, and it goes on into adulthood. Let's not forget it affects adults too.
And there are many different things that people do, from sort of hair pulling to cutting yourself to substance abuse.
Yeah, we commonly think of cutting. Well, actually, in the grand scheme of things, out of adults that are admitted to hospital, the majority of those have taken an overdose. So substance abuse and overdosing is a form of self-harm.
Which can have long-term effects, regardless of whether you overdose and immediately something happens.
And I don't really want to go into the details of exactly the types of self-harm, but it is self-injurious or self-poisoning behaviour, and I don't think it's always helpful to talk about examples, but the fact is that long-term it can have some serious consequences.
And so if you are worried about yourself, and you're watching today knowing that secretively you are doing this sort of thing, or someone within your family or someone you know is doing it, what do you do?
Well, there's two groups of people that I think we need to talk about when it comes to self-harm. First of all, it's the self-harmer. So if you're experiencing it and going through it, the first and foremost thing you've got to do is talk to someone. It doesn't have to be a professional. It can be a friend, someone you trust in, someone who makes you feel safe. Get those feelings out in another way. If you're in a certain situation that's making it worse, remove yourself from that. Go to a place of safety. Go somewhere where you feel safe. Use a distraction technique. Some people listen to music, some people do another activity. Some people have a physical outlet, so they do a sport that's non-harmful, that is a way of getting out those feelings. Relax, focus on positive things, and this is a bit of a controversial area, but damage limitation is about experiencing those feelings of discomfort in a non-harmful way. So some people might squeeze ice cubes, some people might eat chilies, take a cold shower, or even use less harmful ways of harming themselves, but we won't go into that. It's very important to think about the times you've got over it, remember that you can get over it and that there's help there for you, and have a crisis plan. Okay.
And what about things to look out for? I mean, if you're a parent and you're concerned about your child, are there signs to
I get lots and lots of inquiries from parents that are worried. What should I be looking out for? What should I do? There is no one magical answer. Okay. The first thing I would say is look out for signs of underlying anxiety or low mood, because they are associated with self-harm. Look out for unexplainable marks or injuries. That might be a clue that something's going on, especially if someone is being very secretive about their bodies. For instance, if we're looking at self-injurious behaviour, a self-harmer will hide that. The majority of them will hide that and do it. And also think about things that people don't remember, that overdosing is a form of self-harm. So recurrent substance abuse and overdosing might give you a clue as to what's going on. Remember, it's just a symptom, though. There's something underlying all of this.
Absolutely.
And there's tons of help out there for parents, so you just got to access it, and loads of it is online as well.
Thank you.
Well, we'll go one step further than all of that as well. Of course, we'll put that online, but you're back a little bit later on to take some calls. All right, we'll
Thank you very much.